we doing over there? I think we're live. I think we have a good picture. I'll sit down and make sure that you can see me correctly. Well, last time I heard my head was chopped off a little bit, so I couldn't tell. Again, always kind of playing with this technology. Maybe if I move this back a little bit better to ensure a proper experience, a good experience. I hope my head is not chopped off. All right, maybe back a little bit more just to ensure. Okay. All right, well, coming into the next few minutes, yeah, I feel like my head's going to be chopped off there. All right, let's see if that works. All right, I feel more confident with that angle. Just in the nick of time as we start our process. All right, as we're settling in, I hope you can hear me. And we'll settle in here into the next 60 seconds or so. And we'll begin right on time, 8 a.m. A very good morning. Coming to you from Denver, Colorado. My name is Eric. I'll be your guide over the next 25 minutes. And I am very proud and honored to be able to serve Comeback Yoga. Comeback Yoga is a very important nonprofit organization that provides free yoga classes and trainings for veterans up and down the Front Range of Colorado and from the Eastern Plains all the way over to the Western Slopes. And so they do so much for so many. And so I do hope that you get inspired within your practice for yourself. And then if it bubbles up in you and you get so filled within yourself, you feel like participating, you can come to our live classes. That helps us with grants. You can come on to the online classes. You can volunteer your time. And then, of course, we could sure use your funds to continue to grow and help veterans, their families, and those around them. And so let's go ahead and get into our practice. This month, we've had this emphasis on the upper body and on the sense of presence. And so a couple of fundamentals around presence is, for one, just ask yourself the question. I'll ask the question, are you aware? Are you present right here, right now, wherever you're at? Are you present? That's your presence. You notice, you know that you're aware. So that is what we want to pay attention throughout the class, is that steady presence that never changes. Throughout the 25 minutes, the postures are going to change, the sensations are going to change, the intensity is going to change, my cues are going to change. But what is going to be consistent with all that change is what? Is presence. Your presence, your sense of presence, your sense of awareness. Or My teacher in India called it aware knowing. Aware knowing. But your sense of presence, it never changes. Let's see if we can go through the practice and keep coming back to that sense of presence through the whole range of the postures. And then what happens? What happens with after the Imzen postures? Okay. So let's go ahead and begin. Recognize that you are aware that you are present right here, right now on the mat. And then breathing in through the nostril and out through the nostril. No pausing in the breath cycle. Smooth inhales, smooth exhales. Draw your shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck and broaden through the collarbone. And notice a lightness that comes as the head is balanced on your own center of gravity. If you're not quite sure about your own center of gravity, you can notice the tailbone, how the tailbone is reaching for the mat. And then just roll right up your spine. Be present to your spine, focused on your spine. As you come right up your spine to the top of your head, that is your center of gravity. As the body can relax on your center of gravity, notice just a natural global relaxation. And let's go ahead and start with the neck. So looking over to the left, you want to look up and over with the neck, okay? And then look your eyeballs all the way to the left, even your eyeballs. Now look, keeping your neck right where it's at, look your eyeballs to the right. To the right. And then keeping the neck right where it's at, look your eyeballs to the left. And now look your eyeballs to the right again. And then the eyeballs to the center, and then bring the neck back to center. And now looking over to the right. Now this seems simple. We're kind of doing a couple of things at once, but you want to look up and over to the right with a nice stretch in the neck. And then you want to look your eyeballs to the right. And then look your eye, keeping the neck right where it's at. Look your eyeballs to the left. And now look your eyeballs to the right. And to the left. Eyes back to center. And then go back into center. Now we're going to drop the chin. Okay, drop in the chin. You're just looking straight down. You do want to really stretch through that neck. You have all these cranial nerves that we're trying to stimulate. Now, keeping the chin tucked down onto the chest, you want to look your eyeballs to the up into the top of your head. And now keeping the head right where it's at with the chin to the chest, look your eyeballs. Your eyeballs just look like you're going to look at your lips. And then now looking up again, looking into the top of your head. And then looking again down, just the eyeballs moving, head stays the same. And then coming back to center. Now, looking up. You want to look up. Now, notice that stretch in the neck. You want to still keep your mouth together, breathing in through the nostril and out through the nostril. This can be an intense posture, so just go to your sweet spot where it just feels good. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 3, 4, 5 level of intensity. You still want to still breathe and look for pleasant sensations, so no forcing anything as the head drops back. And then keeping the head there, just your eyeballs to the top of your head. And now keeping the head where it's at, your eyeballs, just the eyeballs moving like you're looking at your nose. And now the eyeballs go back to the top of the head, just moving the eyeballs, keeping the head where it's at. And then look your eyeballs to your nose. Eyes come to center. And now the head comes to center. And just notice any sensations. Just be present here now. And now let's open up the shoulders, working down, opening up the shoulders. Let's do our goalpost. And then you just want to invert that goalpost. And then the goalpost comes back. Why didn't we kick a field goal? Might come to mind. And then invert that goalpost again. We should have probably kicked that field goal. And then back up. And slow, rhythmic. No pausing in the movement cycle. No pausing in the breathing cycle. Back and down. No pausing in the breath cycle. Find the sweet spot. And then go ahead and bring the hands down. And now the shoulders back up. And we'll bring them together. And then open up like you're pinching a pencil in between your shoulder blades. And then back, slow, methodical, and then come back up. No pausing in the breath cycle, look for pleasant sensations. Working on opening up the thoracic cavity. No pausing in the breath cycle, no pausing in the movement cycle. And see if you're present through the whole range of movement and sensations as it gets lighter and more concentrated. Regardless of the movement, regardless of the sensations, the sense of presence never changes. It's a constant. And then bring the head down. I do want to do one more head mobility. Let's come back to the head. So you want to look over to the left, and then we're just going to drop the chin, making this little half moon shape as you come up to the other side. And then drop it again. Coming back, looking left. And now looking up. You want to look up more like you're looking up at the stars. And you come up and over the other way. And then now looking up again. Looking up. Slow and easy. Do it within your comfort range. You're not in any races or anything. Comfortable. Let that settle for a moment. And just notice that you're still present. Here, now. All sensations are included, are valid, or accepted, or acknowledged. And then let's go ahead and do some cat-cows. Cat-cows. I'll give you a side profile on this. But let's do some seated cat-cows. So cat-cow. So on the cow, you want to press the sternum forward and then look up, dropping the head back, broadening through the collarbone. Even the eyeballs looking to the top of the head. And then on that exhale is the cat variation of this exercise. And you're going to tuck the chin, press the sternum towards the back, and then press the head towards the hips. And even your eyeballs are looking down at your lips. That's cat. And then come back into cow. On the inhale, no pausing in the breath cycle, no pausing in the movement cycle. As breath and movement work together. Breath in, looking up, sternum reaches out, and then tucking the chin, pressing the spine out. And then we'll finish this cycle. Inhale, and then finish up with a cat on the exhale, and then come back into center. I'll adjust myself for the next posture. And we will do some twists. All right. So we're going to twist to the right first. Okay. Twisting to the right. So your right hand to the tailbone, and then your left hand comes to the right knee, and then lift up and over to the right, and breathe. No pausing in the breath cycle. Breathing. Find the sweet spot. No pausing in the breath cycle. Notice that you're still present even in the twist, and still find some pleasantness within that twist. And then come back to center. And then up and over to the left. So the left hand can support behind the tailbone. And then you want to look up and over to the left. Smooth inhales, smooth exhales. And just be present. Just notice the sensations as they come and go. But notice that your present is always steady, here, now, aware. And then come back into center again. And then a bigger forward fold. So you're just going to drop your torso and reach forward. And you just want to bring your weight down to a comfortable space. You don't have to be super flexy. You can see I'm not super flexy. I'm an old rugby guy, so I'm not super flexy. But you do want to do a forward fold. Okay. Compression. And then come back up. And then we will do a backward. So I'll give you a side profile on this one. So what this would look like is your hands come to support in the back. And then you lift up through the sternum. And if it feels good, to start dropping the head back, broadening through the collarbone. And just breathe. And pausing the breath cycle. And then easily come on back up. All right. And then our next posture, I know it seems like it's for the, I used to do it for the lower body, and it seems like it should be for the lower body, but it's also for the upper body. And this is going to let the spine realign and the hips open up. So wide-legged squat. And let's go ahead and have the feet open, and then dropping the tailbone. And breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle. And breathe. Look for pleasant sensations. This can be an intense posture as well. So support yourself. Find the sweet spot. And then when you find the sweet spot, you can start to relax into it. As you relax, the pelvic floor starts to open up, the hips open up, and there is a realignment of the spine. It takes that pressure off that vertebra. And just hang out. And notice that you are still present. That presence never changes. Now you might say, oh, well, now I'm thinking about a movie, and I've forgotten that I'm here. And I would say, that is, I can understand that. But as you were thinking of that movie, or thinking of that wherever, where were you? Where are you? And I would suggest that the answer is right here. And when did you have that movie? Experiencing that, picturing your head of the movie? I'd say right now. We're always here, we're always now. Presence is always here and always now. Mm-hmm. All right, and then let's go ahead and come out of our squat. You can just You can just straighten out your legs, and then you should just give a little tapotment. This little tapotment. Yeah, it should feel good. All right. And then another one that seems like it's for the lower body, but it is also for the upper body, and that is child's pose. So in child's pose, go ahead and take a comfortable position in child's pose where the knees are open and the toes are touching. And we want to just let the sternum reach for the floor and reaching out, and the forehead comes to the mat. And you may even want to roll your forehead back and forth, left and right. And breathing. This is again for the spine, the hips, and then there is this flow of blood. It's an inversion, so flow of blood in the brain. And breathe. No pausing in the breath cycle. Look for pleasant sensations. And release. And then come on back up in the seat. All right. All right, let's go ahead and prime the body into parasympathetic if you're not already still there. But go ahead and follow along. You're just going to give yourself a hug and then rub the shoulders and the nose nice and straight. And then take a nice big deep breath in through the nostril. And then what I'd like for you to do is hum. You're breathing, a little air is coming out of the nose and you're just humming. All right. It's like, and when you feel that exhale complete all the way out down to the bottom of the lung, you just switch it up, left arm over right, and then you take a big breath in through the nostril, and then humming. And this is a real posture and a real pranayama in yoga. It's called honeybee pranayama. Okay, that's the translation from Sanskrit. So in through the nostril and then humming to the exhale all the way out. And then just release and just be present with whatever sensations that may be. And now let's go ahead and turn off the TV in the head, okay? Hypothalamus stimulation, left and right brain activation. It's like a calm check, little snap, little tap, nice and soft. Then a little snap looking left and snap looking right. Snap it to the left and snap it to the right. And a little tap on the head and shake it out. And then thumbs on the temple. And then just a little bit of forehead stimulation. This is your prefrontal lobe. Curious, open, allowing and loving. That is the sign of prefrontal lobe engagement. Curious, open, allowing, and loving. And shake it out. And then we're going to do a little tap up the one arm, tap up the other arm. And you just want to tap, go touch. I know you might be sitting, but tap down to the toes and then back up. And then you want to touch the left shoulder to the right knee, right shoulder to the left knee. Criss, cross, apple, sauce. Touching opposite sides of the body, stimulating central peripheral nervous system. And breathing, being present. And then a cup in the hand, right on the inside of the elbow. And then over here. And then little Irish Spring. Irish Spring. All right. And then the bones of the face, the bones of the face. And then the other side. And then the cheekbones are really good. Chin, collarbone. And then tap right over the top of the head. And then shake it out. And then we've got about a minute to just sit here and be present. Final resting pose. You can have your eyes open or closed. Mine are open because they're always open while I'm doing trauma-informed yoga or working with veterans. But even at yourself as you sit here, are you present? Are you here? Are you now? Are you content? And maybe you even notice a sense of peace. And just be. I want to thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me today. Always an honor, always a pleasure. From one veteran to another and all those that care for us, love us, and support us, have an amazing day. Namaste.